climate shocks that we have now and we will see more and more frequently in the future.
It's more extremes.
Wetter winters.
Massive swings in our climate through climate change.
We're facing a nature and climate emergency.
So there are climate projections pointing out these drier conditions in Yorkshire.
Our project's called Working with Water, and one of the key aims is improving the landscape's resilience to high rainfall events.
So any time during the summer, like now, it's an amazing beautiful day, but it's also really evaporating a lot of water, and it means that we're potentially going into hosepipe fatness and drought conditions. And then, potentially come the rain, which we'll all be grateful for.
That usually rushes down the hills around where we are here. There's lots of steep-sided valleys where the water rushes down towards Sheffield and Rotherham and beyond during high rainfall events. So these nature-based solutions actually help hold that water in the landscape for longer.
It's important to think about on a river is not just the river channel. I would say we are now on a river here. Anything we do up in this catchment affects things that happen downstream.
Okay. So projects like this, the great thing about these nature-based solutions are there's multiple benefits. So whilst we're creating habitats, which is obviously good for increasing biodiversity and combating the nature emergency, planting trees and hedgerows and holding more water in the environment and improving wetlands also locks in carbon into the landscape. It's helping us be more resilient to climate change by natural flood management, for example. So the same type of interventions that we put in to improve habitat often help hold the water in the environment, for example building temporary ponds or increasing wetland.
My name is Paula Sakai. I am a lecturer in sustainability, economics and policy, and I'm working from the University of Leeds. We need to be resilient, and I think that is a key message that we need to get across. That resilience means that you need to be able to cope with events, but also you need to be able to adapt in advance to those events. So we really need anticipatory adaptation measures, and to do that it's a really complex problem, so we really need to work together, and working in partnership it's a crucial thing that will lead us to a good path in the future.
Sheffield Lakeland Landscape Partnership was started 5 or 6 years ago, and it's taken a really kind of a lot of hard work, commitment and enthusiasm by the partners to achieve so much in this landscape. It's been a really great partnership. So it's particularly between Sheffield City Council and Yorkshire Water, supported by others such as Bradfield Parish Council. And we've had a lot of funding through Heritage Lottery Fund as well, which has been really critical to getting the partnership going.
You need to involve all actors, and we know that. But also one of the things that we need is to take those perspectives into account, that we really need to be inclusive, and we need to consider that everybody have their own worldview. And if we do not take those into consideration, it's really difficult to move things ahead.
All of these different landscapes are owned by are used by different stakeholders with different goals. So the point of this project is to try and work with everyone and collaborate.
Yeah, it's easy for us to think, well, this field will fence it off, make it a grassland, but they need it for grazing. We don't want cows pooing near a river, but they need it to make a living, to feed their families, like you say. It's hard finding that balance sometimes, and it's quite important.
That's a big part of why there's been successes in the project, is because we haven't just come crashing in.
Yeah, you formed those positive relationships that built on trust.
They know who we are, how we work.
What we're keen to do is that rather than just looking to intensify production, that they will look at greater environmental sustainability as a means of improving the resilience of their farms, but also improving the natural assets.
By allowing water to go where it wants and nature to progress just by doing less, we get all this.
Did you do this one though, Martin? I don't think. Did you do this one? Oh, right.
Me and Becca did this one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's still standing, so And it's
a
nice
good
to see how
sign.
there was 3 quite big birch trees on the other side.
There was some big sycamores before.
Before we started.
Well, behind me is this amazing bog. I like to call it the magic bog, because what it's doing is it's actually forming sphagnum moss. And sphagnum moss is this absolutely magical plant. It's like a big sponge. And so this bog is just growing sphagnum moss, and that moss is capable of just soaking up massive amounts of water, way more than this little tiny plant looks like it could do.
And heathland.
Yeah.
Which actually looks quite nice when it's purple, but you know it's not
Yeah,
that great.
yeah.
And some new forest coming up over there.
Yeah,
Lovely.
yeah. It's a good spot. Very nice.
Yeah. Lovely.
Good job.
This Working with Water project, we're really going to be able to build on this and the outputs from this with our Source to Sea nature-based solutions programme. So that's a programme of nature-based solutions with natural flood management as the central aim.
So we really need to work at big landscape scale right across geographies like the Sheffield Lakeland, but also beyond that, looking right across Sheffield and then right across South Yorkshire. So the way that we're thinking about this approach is we're thinking about a nature recovery network. So this is like a really big scale network which is part of the government's proposals, part of what the Wildlife Trust wants to see, which is land set aside for nature, allowing nature to recover right across the country. And we talk about a target of 30% of land and water, great for nature by 2030. So that's what we've got a real ambition for.
So projects like this are absolutely great because it shows we can learn from them. We're building links with the local community, the local farming community and other partners. But we really need to scale them up to a landscape scale for it to have a really good effect.
A really exciting future, I think, and we hope to work with the Sheffield Landscape Partnership and with the Sheffield and Rotherham Wildlife Trust moving forward, because we see partnership as a very effective way of ensuring delivery.
There's plenty of ways that the public can get involved. We're in a beautiful location here next to a small river. If you get involved with your local wildlife trust, either join your wildlife trust or become a volunteer, go along to events that they're running, and do things like building leaky dams or planting trees along rivers. Even just getting out into the countryside and appreciating it is a good thing. There's plenty of other activities you can get involved with. Often the Wildlife Trusts have got citizen science projects. So for example, as part of the Working with Water project, the public have been involved with monitoring rain gauges. On other projects that we've got, the public can take photographs at fixed point photography sites, and that helps us see how the interventions that we put in are performing in different circumstances.
So despite the fact that they're only 3 or 4 months old, these ponds, they're already teeming with wildlife and making it a more biodiverse landscape in what would formerly have just been a bed of rush. This time next year we'll be seeing even more wildlife and biodiversity, and it'll still be here as a feature which can serve for natural flood management as well.